G'day viewers, I scored this fish on Paykel upright freezer. Just free to pick it up for scrap, so I thought, well, not working, eh? Alright, so I'll just pick it up. Kind of, yeah, okay, see if it's not working. So I took it home, plugged it in, let it run a couple of days, a day or two, got the temperature, and it froze back in the water alright, so didn't have any dramas at all. But I took all this shroud off and just checked the evaporator, and they said it wasn't working, so maybe it was tripping the RCD. So the most likely cause of that would be this defrost element. Goes up inside there, sandwiched inside the evaporator here. But that is actually a good nick. It sits in there like that. What normally happens if I've fixed one of these in the past. I had one where it would just randomly trip the RCD. It would get cold, run for a day or two, and as soon as the defrost time would activate it, it would trip the RCD. Yeah, what happens was there was a pinhole in this heating element, and it bubbled up and water got in there. When it was dry, it was fine, but as soon as it started getting moisture in it, yeah, it tripped the RCD. But this element is actually fine. It's a replaceable part. Basically, it takes a hot, cold air from the shroud, sucks it through there, pushes it up, and that fan blows it all through and circulates it. That one is in good nick. So this thing works absolutely fine. It's made in New Zealand. Nowadays they're all cheap Chinese and Thai crap. 115 years of R134A, made in New Zealand. This isn't even that old, it's be about 7 or 8 year old. 389 litres. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, so it'd be too good to go to scrap, so I grabbed it. As I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, it works fine. But so it's too good to go to scrap, so I'm going to flip it and get some money for it. Even though I got this thing for free, I'm going to get something out of it. This is probably the end of the run of the reliable white goods. Now pretty much all white goods domestically now are all Chinese and Thai made crap. If you want quality nowadays and you want to buy white goods, you better buy commercial. But it's got the no aluminium lines, which most fridges now and freezers now, all these are all aluminium lines. This is all copper. Panasonic compressor. Made in Malaysia with Matsushita, it's a Panasonic one. Got the defrost thing there. Water goes in there and the heat from the compressor evaporates all that. Cyclopentane, which is no longer used, and they use butane R600A to blow the insulation, which is a fire hazard, but yeah, we're saving the planet here, not people's houses. And there's your little thermometer. I've changed that knob because I wanted that knob for one of my freezers. So we'll just sit there, that's your thermostat. And there's your defrost timer there. You turn that little yellow thing and you can set it and manually set it, or whatever time of day you want it to go off. You can set it to whatever time of day you want. 12-hour timer. Yeah, the best type of defrost system's hot gas system. It does use a little bit of power to defrost this thing, that little element in there. But yeah, so these ones are actually made to be repaired though, because as I said, these elements are only about $90 to you just buy it and replace it yourself. Consumable part. There's a little capacitor there. Made in Luxembourg. Wow. That'll be for the fan, I think. Yeah, that's a fan capacitor. Yeah, made in Luxembourg. Quality components. Nice, a good nick. Normally, when you put acidic foods are capsicums, olives, tomatoes, will attack the coil and corrode it. But this one's in really good condition. Really good nick. Anyway, I guess I put it back together. So anything you want to check? I suspected this would have been the issue, but no, it's fine. It's actually been clipped. I think someone's moved it a bit. That's supposed to clip up in there like that. That's been moved. One of it's actually been replaced. Yeah, someone's been in here before. I reckon that's been replaced. Had to have been. Anyway. I've gave this bonnet a bit of love, a neon. I've removed all the house paint. Bit of cheap Chinese Magic Eraser cleaning sponge from Cheapest Chips. They work really well with polishing and cleaning. Bit of terps and some water and some soap, and it all came scrubbed completely off. It's a good thing about house paint, you can get it off surfaces like this. Many sore hands and arms later. Still working like the day it was bought. Look at that. You've got to love R152A. The frost pattern makes it easy where the coil is. Look at that. The coil goes there, 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 there. Works really well. This one is ready to go to a new home. It's going to a good home, this one, so he'll be looked after. Good old made in Australia by New World Appliances. Good old Tecumseh Kirby compressor. Cleaned it all up and did a bit of painting under here. Put some tape on that just to keep it nice and electrically safe by today's standards. Look at that. Didn't even bother sticking that to the suction. Normally that's supposed to be soldered to the suction and capillary, and that'll cool this down, and the returning cool there back to the compressor, the cool gas will cool this hot gas going to the evaporator. This will be pre-cooled, and that'll maximise the efficiency of the cooling. But I don't know what I didn't do that with this one. But some manufacturers did that. It works just as well with, but yeah. Here's a switch all nice and clean. Yeah, I don't know what I call it, fast freeze. It just bypasses the thermostat. So if you just turn it on and everything's hot, that will just run. This will run indefinitely and never stop. Don't know what I call it, fast freeze. Not technically fast freeze. It's thermostat bypass. That's what it is. It came out quite well. I'll be very happy with that. Okay, just an update on this Frigidaire while I'm here. So respray at the top. Looks better. Magic Eraser and bleached the seal. That came up nice. Just going to touch up that little bit of rust there. That'll be it. Got to mask all this off. I just clean it up, paint it up, make it all nice and pretty again. That's bloody heavy though. I'm going to use this little dolly to assist for getting it inside. Here's a nicely built unit, this one. But I've come up pretty good with the cut and polish. The construction of this thing, it's folded, and the corners are actually welded on the inside, and they've ground it and made a nice finish on the outside when they welded it. Same with the lid. You don't see that sort of construction in modern white goods anymore. It's a bit of a shame. Oh, this feature doesn't know. That feature has that welded construction as well. A more modern, more newer one. An example of what I'm talking about, especially this Australian-made culminator from the mid-90s. It's got this here. They actually folded it. They put plastic over it. The skill, you can just see the skill's gone. They just folded it and put plastic trims. But these older appliances took skilled workers, sheet metal workers, to actually weld it, and this made a nice finish. Folded, and it's actually pretty much when I made cars in Australia, there was that sort of skill set, but now it's becoming less and less and less mainstream. So it's a shame not making things here anymore. The skills die off and people just get dumber and dumber and dumber. Then I'll tear that quite nice. I buffed that a little bit. It came out a bit better. Got to preserve that label. Product of General Motors. It doesn't say Holden's though on this one. Interesting. Normally they say Holden's, but this doesn't have it. Looks good with new neon. I've added the I've calibrated the settings on the thermostat to put a proper wheel on there with numbers on it, like most freezers are supposed to have. You turn that with a screwdriver and there's numbers on it to tell you the warmest to coldest. I've marked it and calibrated it so I know what to what setting is which. This is a little bit bent up, but there we go. It's resting on that pipe. Try to avoid that because that will just create rub through. It doesn't move though, so but it's just good practice. Good old Tecumseh Kirby compressor in there. Bulletproof oil compressors those. So I quite like those old compressors when I used to make things in Australia. You can tell they were probably welded by hand as well, because you could a lot of the welds do vary a little bit. There's no consistency. No two compressor welds on the seams are the same. You can tell it's been someone's just sat there when I was on the turntable welding it. Like with all new compressors and new fridges, all the welds are exactly the same. Like you can tell it, mass production, how it's changed, how they're all the same nowadays. Little details you pick up. Stainless steel screwed and washed it at all, so that's all nice and good. That's a bit supposed to be there, but well. It's a lot better than what it was, and a lot stronger too. I built it up pretty nice in there. I placed all the insulation behind that because the original insulation was just rooted. I would not let go of the water, plus it was frosting up over here. It was building up frost, so I just replaced it. Another thing I really like about the older white goods, especially the old freezers too, these old chest freezers from the era. I would say very much from mid to late 70s, I reckon, this one. Possibly mid to late 70s, but they had a late 60s, early 70s cord on it, so it could even be early 70s. Possibly, but it's bloody heavy enough to be. As I was saying, these hinges, you can take all this little screw in there, and that shaft all comes out. You can take the spring out and you can clean it all up. As I've done, I took all that out in that one, cleaned up all the dirt out of the spring, greased up the contact points where it slides because it was squeaking, and you can adjust these. And I've had to readjust because as soon as I put this new insulation and put the door back on, it wouldn't stay open. Now it's actually working nicely, so I readjusted it. You can't do that in new chest freezers. The hinges are all fixed for the factory. They set them, they're at a set tension, and that's it. You can't adjust them. But there's older ones you could. Same with the new world freezer. The new world freezer's got an adjustable set of hinges too, which is nice. Really nice feature. Very serviceable. And these are all stainless steel screws too. Anyway, she's come up quite well with a bit of a cut and polish. I'm happy with how it turned out. Anyway, thanks for watching.